The Wi-Fi in your home can track moves like Xbox Kinect. Now, of course, some people are familiar with the Xbox Kinect system. Basically, it uses your movements to play video games and so forth. Now they're saying technology is so advanced that they can basically track what you do in your home. For example, if you have your Wi-Fi devices connected, and if there's a video that goes along with this, we're not going to show for the sake of time, but in the video, the developer says if you have a Wi-Fi device such as a laptop or even an iPhone, that would be a strong enough signal to allow you to do things like wave your hand and turn on your TV, or turn on your blender by flicking your wrist. And, I'm not a technophobe. I definitely see this could benefit people with disabilities and so forth. But just think about this, how they want to control every aspect of your life. Well, let's say, for example, if you live in an apartment complex like I do, I have a one occupancy apartment, but there are plenty of people who have a one-bedroom apartment who have 10 people living in their apartment. That's right. So, and let's say those people aren't supposed to be there, at least not living there on a permanent basis. So if they can sense your movements, they can sense that it's not one person in this house. It's not one person and maybe a dog or a cat. You've got 10 people living in this apartment. So when you start moving around, what if your electricity just cuts off?
Well, my background is in engineering, and I always looked at technology as a good thing, as an empowering thing. But over and over and over again, the theme that we keep seeing coming back is that they're using technology for control. They're using it for surveillance. And we just had an interview earlier this week with Sheila Hemphill, who was successful in at least getting in the option to opt out of smart meters because they're very concerned about the intensity of the wireless signals that are being shut out. It's 300 times that of a cell phone. And there's a lot of concern, a lot of real health concerns about this technology, about a lot of this wireless technology and the strength of the strength of the signals that are coming out and the health impacts on that. We had expert testimony. We had a person on the interview at the end of the interview who had given expert testimony in Canada, and he was talking about, this guy was not even in the medical field. He was a consultant who was looking at the effect of pulsing high energy waves like we're getting with Wi-Fi and like we're getting with these smart meters. He was looking at the way it affected the building integrity, the way it was fatiguing structural materials.
Right.
And so you got to wonder, when you're seeing real measurable changes in the structural materials, what it's doing to people, because we have electrical signals that are running all through our body, as well as what it's doing to soft tissue.
It's frequency pollution. That's what she explained in that interview. It's not just in things such as Wi-Fi. She did the demonstration a little bit afterwards where she showed us a light bulb. She had her, I'm not exactly sure what you call it, her sensor, and she held it up to a light bulb, one of those curly Q light bulbs, and the thing just went crazy. And it's far beyond just things such as Wi-Fi, and it very much concerns me when we look at things like these new Wi-Fi systems, a signal so powerful you can turn on TVs in different rooms and so forth. That's a lot of frequency pollution that you're absorbing into your body.
Absolutely. And as we talked about in the interview, it's not just the privacy issue that we're concerned about. It's not just the health issue that we're concerned about. There's a lot of people out there who, like we were talking about earlier, they don't care about their privacy. They don't care about your privacy.
No.
And they may not believe the health issues. What they need to believe, though, is that this is going to be used to raise their electricity rates. They're looking at this to, again, monitor what people are doing and adjust it accordingly, because we're seeing a massive decline in the affordability of electricity and in the production of electricity. To manage that decline and to keep the power companies' profits up, they're going to charge you a differential price based on the time of day that you use your service.
And I believe you talked about that yesterday, peak hours. So let's say, you have, maybe your grandma, somebody comes to visit you on the weekend. Well, you don't normally use that amount of electricity. So, once you hit, X number, we just cut it off.
Right. Well, or the other part of it is charging people a lot when they're using it during the peak hours. People don't have control over that. In an experiment that they did in Chicago, they found that it did not affect people's use of energy. Why? Because you don't have control over that. If people had control over the time that they go to work, you wouldn't have rush hour traffic in every city, right? People would opt out. They would opt to go at a different time, but they have to go at a particular time. They have to use that electricity at that time. They're going to charge them a lot more money to use electricity at that period of time. It's all about managing a decline in our lifestyle and and cheap available energy, which has really kind of funded not only driven our economy, but also helped us to achieve a better standard of living and a longer lifespan. They're taking that away.
And it makes surveillance fun and trendy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got video games, you can turn on your TVs and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, we got some callers that have lined up here. We've got, let's go to one of them. The first one here is Julio in Illinois. Julio, are you there?
Afternoon, gentlemen. You know, I was at Bilderberg last year in Chantilly, Virginia, and I remember actually eating breakfast inside the Westfield Marriott Hotel the day before the conference and having police escort me out, or drinking at the Wellington pub with Mark Dice and other activists last year, and being able to actually meet Jim Tucker in person and actually have a conversation with Mr. Tucker last year was truly an experience unlike any other. And as an independent journalist, hearing for years, oh, this group doesn't exist, and actually being on the grounds last year, seeing Austin Goolsbee, who was President Obama's economic advisor, who you can see him on Sean Hannity's program on Fox News all the time, or seeing literally Henry Kissinger in his Deathmobile driving through the grounds of the Marriott last year. It was truly an astonishing experience to be a part of, and just seeing corporate media here in the States not even touching the subject. Last year they tried to. Last year they had the Daily Caller, which is Tucker Carlson's pseudo-libertarian news outlet. They tried to do what the BBC tried to do to Alex Jones just a few hours ago down in Watford. Tried to
get a soundbite.
Provoke the peaceful protesters and trying to get them to sound stupid. And a couple of days ago, it was actually on Monday, I tweeted Jake Tapper, who's the host of The Lead on CNN. He used to be on ABC News. I tweeted Jake Tapper on my Twitter at JNReports. I asked Jake, are you going to be covering Bilderberg this week? Are you going to be covering this secret meeting in Watford? And he told me that we may or may not cover Bilderberg, but if we do, it's not going to be because of my obnoxious tweets. And I guess obnoxious tweets now is asking
a question.
Corporate media journalists whether or not they're going to cover a secret meeting. You know, you just type in Bilderberg onto any search engine's news tab, and you're seeing mainstream articles from the London Guardian, the Daily Mail, and so forth, but where's corporate media? You're not going to get any coverage. But I look at some of the people who are attending Bilderberg, and I heard Alex talk about maybe an hour and a half ago about Peter Thiel, who is one of the founders of Facebook, supposedly this libertarian man. I've been doing my fair share of research on Peter Thiel since last year. He's a part of the Bilderberg steering committee, and you don't become a member of the steering committee if you're not an evil person, if you haven't sold your soul. And one of his front groups is called Breakout Labs. Breakout Labs, Breakout Labs, breakoutlabs.org, I believe, is the website. And Peter Thiel is donating millions of dollars into the biotech world. Millions of dollars into trying to harness the energy of tornadoes. He's spending millions of dollars on really this technocracy. And I think my Cass Sudstein a lot. And his
if I'm not mistaken, I think Peter Thiel was at the transhumanist conference that Ray Kurzweil and all those guys had back in the
don't even get me started on that
back in the fall. So I mean, I think he's into this transhumanist movement as well. You know, the statue that we see out in front of Bilderberg.
No, absolutely. And if people just take the time to research Breakout Labs and see where Peter Thiel's billions of dollars are going to, it's going towards this technocracy. And there's one woman, I forgot her name, it's like Susan. Oh, man, it's on the official attendees list, but there's one woman who's the chief economist of Microsoft, and she also was buddies with the Rand Corporation.
Well, I think what you're gonna see with Bilderberg is you've got these younger people, Jeff Bezos, perhaps, the Google influence that's coming in. They understand that they can't contain this as a secret anymore. They understand that it's making them look like a bunch of fools and liars because they've been liars about this, because it's such obviously the secret is out in the open.
You can
and the
use
more they ignore it,
tools to research Bilderberg.
The more they ignore it, the more ridiculous they look, the more they lose credibility. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to spin this in a positive way. And we've already seen a lot more reports talking about this, how, oh, well, you know, Bilderberg came together and it was originally set up to try to make sure that we were going to have world peace. Well, we've had 60 years of continuous war since they got set up. Not doing
a very good job.
What's your, you said that you're an alternative media person. What's your contact information?
I mean, people can follow me on Twitter at JN Reports. I actually submitted Genetically Modified Society into the Operation Paul Revere contest.
Okay, great.
And one last thing, you know, I just looking at Bilderberg and looking at just how even just last year seeing almost 1,000 people outside the Westfields Marriott, and Lord willing, there's going to be a large number of people just outside of London this weekend. It's showing, and even Zbigniew Brzezinski admitted this a few weeks before I went to Bilderberg last year. He admitted that people are waking up to the New World Order.
Hi, this is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, with some news about some new additions to the InfoWars store. You know, good health is freedom. When you're healthy, you're not a slave to the medical system. Everything works well, your brain, your body, even your spirit. You're a healthier person. And to help support that great health, Alex has asked me to source the cleanest, most potent superfoods and other similar products in the world and bring them to the InfoWars store. So we've done that. The brand name is Health Ranger Select, and we're starting out right now with these 3 products. We've got Himalayan salt from Pakistan, formed hundreds of thousands of years ago in an ancient seabed long before modern pollution destroyed much of the oceans. This is loaded with trace minerals, and it's pristine, true, full-spectrum sea salt. We've also got Natural Attitude Turmeric. It's an extract of turmeric, very potent, tastes great, alcohol-free. This is from organic turmeric out of India. And we've also got Clean Chlorella. And we sourced and did research on all the chlorella sources around the world, and we found the 2 cleanest sources that have the lowest levels of any kind of contaminants. In fact, this one is virtually free of all metals and all contaminants. It's called Clean Chlorella, and it's about 2/3 protein, and it's got chlorophyll and chlorella growth factor in it. Check it out online. It's an amazing superfood that athletes are using and people are using to help support healthy lifestyles. It's fantastic. This is all packaged in our certified organic facility here in Central Texas. There we follow USDA certified standards, and we're audited every year by the USDA certifier to make sure that we comply with all organic standards. That, combined with the fact that we only source super clean superfoods and raw materials from around the world, means that our products represent the cleanest and most potent products that you'll find across the natural products industry. Check all of these out under the Health Ranger Select brand name at the InfoWars store, InfoWarsStore.com. And we'll be bringing you more of these in the near future. Thanks and take care.
We've got Daniel on the line from Canada. Daniel, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Nice talking to you both again.
Hey, good talking to you.
I just had 2 quick things to bring up, if you don't mind commenting on. The first thing is the surveillance grid, and you both are absolutely right. On WikiLeaks, I was just looking around, too. If you look at the left side of the column about the spy files, it shows literally in almost every different country, every agency that's monitoring every form of communication, like text messaging, phone calls, internet access, all that stuff. So quick comment on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, well, what do you think, Jakari? I mean, they're looking at everything we're doing, and of course we've got the Utah Data Center coming online.
Yeah, not just there. I mean, these things are all over. Like I said, we've been to the one in San Antonio, and bringing up WikiLeaks, I don't want people to forget about the trial of Bradley Manning.
That's right.
I believe he's in his 2nd day of trials, maybe the 3rd. I was reading an article a little bit earlier how they had full press coverage, or at least the press area of the courtroom was full the 1st day, and the 2nd day and the 3rd day. Now there's hardly anybody covering that event. So I definitely want people to not forget about him and his situation of exposing some of those sensitive information. But yeah, I definitely would encourage anybody who was interested in that information. If you have friends and family who don't believe that there's anybody spying on you 24 hours a day, I definitely would direct them there to see what was going on.
Well, they're playing real hardball with any of the whistleblowers. We had last week Karen Hudes, who worked for about 20 years for the World Bank.
Right.
And as a lawyer there, she saw some corruption, and she saw loans being made that didn't qualify. And when she spoke out about it, they came after her pretty hard. And the amazing thing is that even You know, there were elements within the World Bank that wanted to expose the fraud and the misconduct that were there. But there's a heavy American presence, and it was really the American side that was trying to shut her up. And even after she got an invitation to come back and speak at the World Bank meeting, they had the U.S. Secret Service. Now, understand that the World Bank is a separate entity that the U.S. has maybe a 15% share in. And so you got the U.S. Secret Service saying she couldn't go, even though the World Bank people wanted to hear. Yeah, they wanted to hear her whistleblowing exposure of the corruption that she saw. And it wasn't just her. It was several other people within the World Bank. The Secret Service said she couldn't. She is a lawyer, so she basically presented evidence to them and gave them the record saying that she was invited. When she showed up, they arrested her. And now they're charging her, the Eric Holder's Justice Department is charging her for unlawful entry.
Eric
it's really
Holder
amazing.
Is to investigate his own organization.
That's right. I mean, it's amazing that they go out of their way into an area where they don't really have any jurisdiction, and they start attacking people who are whistleblowers. It's very concerning that we see this kind of overreaching bullying of people who are basically exposing fraud and corruption. It's a time where they demand absolutely not only transparency, but they demand micro surveillance of every single thing that we do, and yet they come down so hard when anybody looks at anything that they're doing. I mean, just that's the essence of Bilderberg is secrecy. So,
exactly.
We have another caller on the line, Mike from Tennessee. Mike, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Mike.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about the situation where you've got a Chinese company buying up the largest pork producer in the world here in the United States, and clearly they indicate that the products will be exported to China. So you look at the condition right now where across the country they're trying to shut down the small family farmers from being able to raise pigs and outlawing their ability to do so, and they're taking these multinational corporations and funneling all of the proceeds of this country into other countries, and they're buying up these companies with devalued U.S. dollars, which China's a flood of. And you look at the connection with this company who was at one time controlled by Goldman Sachs, and there's a few articles on the internet where if you just search this company's name and money laundering, you'll find that some of these articles were up and now they've been removed. So this thing looks like one big sham where the Chinese government is basically buying up assets of this country and basically strategically starving this country ultimately.
Absolutely.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.